Madam.
Thank you. As you all know, our topic today is Sujd, prostration, divine medicine for spiritual peace and connection. Today we will look at what is prostration, the science behind it, some benefit, the excellent example of ALWAAZ. We will then look at how prostration actually gives us this spiritual connection, right? And then Dr. Rubina is going to do the Quranic perspective. Who can guess what this is? Which tree is it?
Weeping willow?
Yes, exactly. Thank you. The weeping willow tree actually is in a position of prostration, it's in a position of bending, ruku, and it's also holding down, right? And the leaves of the weeping willow have very nice moisture on it. We all know water is a symbol of knowledge, right? Sway back and forth, and they also prostrate. And there's this one Quranic verse which says to Allah prostrate everything in the heavens and the earth, and the shadows to willingly or unwillingly. Here are the Nurani words of our Imam. We are talking about prostration. We just saw how everything in nature prostrates to Allah, right? Willingly or unwillingly. Prostration means humility, utmost humility, submission. Maulana Shafi'i was saying how your Imam so clearly tells us that the central element in any religious outlook seems to me is a sense of human limitations, right? A recognition of our own creaturehood, a posture of profound humility before the divine. So this is the key, right? Before the divine, we are insignificant. We are absolutely humble in front of the divine. So Imam is giving us the key, right, on how we can strike a balance in our lives through humility. Who can tell me who's saying is this? No honor is like knowledge, no belief is like modesty and patience, no attainment is like humility.
Ali.
Yes, absolutely, thank you. That's great. Alright, so what is the difference between sujood and ruku? This illustration just tells you very clearly. Ruku basically is bending down, and sujood, prostration, is going down to the ground. The idea of prostration is not new. It is as old as creation itself, or as old as the manifested world. Okay? What is prostration then? So prostration is the unity of body, soul, intellect. How is sujood the unity of body, soul, and intellect? So this is the full prostration here. In the first image. In the second image also is the full prostration. And then you have this position here, right? So the physical posture of prostration is of two kinds, which we see here, right? This is the full prostration. So we see that the posture of prostration is across all different religions and all the cultures. And then this one here, we see actually that how the forehead and the nose touches the ground, right? So prostration is the ultimate gesture for submission and worship. We do prostration with our physical body, right? But it is a willing act that our intellect and our soul submit to He who is above all else, right? So prostration is the correct response to the glory of the living God. We go down in humility with our forehead and our nose on the ground, and this expresses absolute obedience. Fear of God actually is very important, and it is the beginning of doing a real prostration, okay, which leads to complete obedience, humility, and submission to Maliki Yawmiddin, the Lord of resurrection, the Imam of the time. And by doing this prostration with understanding and humility, we are seeking that the nur of the Imam of the time will become our heart. Okay? So Signs of prostration. Prostration is the only position when the brain or the head becomes lower than the heart. Yeah? And this is an advantage because all the blood rushes to the brain and gives it fresh oxygen. In all other positions, the brain actually is above the heart and therefore it's going against gravity, right? And the heart has to work really hard. And that also limits the flow of oxygen in our brain. Benefit of prostration, how the blood supply in the brain not only gives it oxygen but also nourishment, which then have a better effect on our memory, vision, hearing, concentration, and all cognitive abilities. Okay? And because of that, because of constant prostration, we actually develop a habit or we create a situation within our being where we can then manifest results which give us better willpower and coping abilities. Prostration also leads to cervical muscles. The movement actually keeps these muscles really strong and therefore it keeps our vertebra strong, and that helps us to hold our head high and in a better position. Okay, very, very important. Many other health benefits, spine is stretching, so we see multiple benefits, right? Some of the benefits are also that our body is purified, our soul and our intellect, we have purification through this act of submission with humility, right? So if done properly, prostration hides within it effacement and annihilation. And God says, and prostrate yourself and draw near to your Lord. So what is a perfect prostration, right? How can we prostrate which has this element of effacement and annihilation within it? Okay? The greatest spiritual scientist and poet of the 21st century, ALWAAZ, explains how with burning heart and flowing tears, how with burning heart when we prostrate and we are shedding tears and we have our forehead touching the ground, we come closer to the divine, and that also helps us attain recognition. Okay? And then he explains that prostration which is empty of practical humility is like an empty walnut and has no value. Hazrat Dawood is a great example of this perfect prostration. Okay? We also know that Hazrat Dawood used to love music and dance. And so in all his movements, from all different angles, he did sujood, prostration, ruku, he was bending, he was doing salam, and above all he was doing Dari, weeping with tears, submitting to Allah. There's this beautiful Quranic verse which says, and fall down on your faces weeping, and this increases their humility. See this word again, humility. The highest level of humility is with knowledge. He was the example of divine love. Okay, how do angels prostrate? The prostration of Hazrat Adam was not at all like the prostration we do in Jamaat Khana, right? It was actually with Ismiazam, and in this process, all the representative particles come and prostrate consciously or unconsciously, whether they believe in the Imam of the time or not. Everybody enters the personal wall of the Imam and prostrates. Okay? How can we ground ourselves with prostration? We've just seen how beautiful prostration is. Physically, it keeps our body healthy. Spiritually, it keeps us relaxed and in tune with our faith, and intellectually it gives us recognition, right? So this is from the one in the series. He said, I am your heart. So here we know it's the Imam of the time. Behind the veil he told me, submit your heart to me. Submit your heart. Heart is the forehead. That's where the divine spark is. So submit your heart to me. O universal soul, by God, take this heart, it belongs to you. So remember the Quranic ayah that every single thing, whether it's inanimate or living like we are, has a heart. And the heart of the Quran is the Imam of the time, and that is our purpose. Through frustration, we can make an intention of making the Imam's nur our heart. The status of the heart is known only to an Arif. So Arif is somebody who has gone through resurrection. If somebody purifies the heart, now here Arif of the time is giving us a key, right? That if we purify our heart, then our heart becomes the throne of God. And there's this beautiful translation by Huberli, in the yearning of your audience, make my cries a melodious tune when I recite your hymns. Reminds us of Prophet Dawood's actions, right? How his prostration is perfect. Remember, through his melodies, through his Girial and through his hymns and dancing. The beat of my heart you shall hear, that matches your unseen sitar's rhythm. Reflection is so beautiful, how it manifests. So how is prostration a divine medicine? How is it spiritual peace? And how does it connect us with the divine? We know that divine medicine is true love for the Imam of the time. Divine medicine is humility. Divine medicine is hidden supplication, it's faith, it's knowledge. And the purpose of God mentioning the prostration of love of the great and exalted prophets and the Imam is to show us that our real destination is the love and annihilation in the nur of the Imam of the time, right? So physically, we do the prostration with our forehead, with complete obedience. Spiritually, we try through this prostration, which is action-driven, to annihilate ourselves in the Imam of the time with Ismi Azam, and intellectually, we then seek the Nurani Didar. This is where the divine spark is, right? This is where paradise is. So we are actually trying to merge ourselves in the Nur of the Imam. There's a beautiful Hadith Qudsi, where God says, O Bani Adam, O children of Adam, obey me, I will make you like myself, that you may never die. Right? So this idea of mono-reality, of merging in the nur of God, is actually the purpose of prostration. I'm going to stop here. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, now?
Yeah, very good.
Okay. So, few of the things which Yasmin has covered, I've also mentioned in my slide, but with some different dimensions. So, today is Sujd. I will use Sujd rather than prostration. So, Sujd, which is the term used in Quran more than 90 times, almost 94 times in Quran. There is a mention of sujood with Mu'mineen and Mu'minat, sujood with prophets, sujood in terms of ibadat, sujood in terms of how we can connect with Allah and how annihilation and connection and peace is there in sujood. So we all must have experienced when we do sujood with utmost humility and with utmost sometimes weeping or sometimes talking to Imam of the time, then we feel spiritual connection with Imam. So the meaning, literal meaning of sujood or prostration, as it is already explained, that it's bow down, be humble, humility, and one is literal meaning, it's bowing down or putting yourself near the floor, and in the religious terms, sujood is basically bow down very humbly in front of Allah, so that you declare Allah's greatness and majesty. So keeping one's head on the ground also gives the concept of slavery, gulami or bandagi. So slavery means you are a slave, you are a banda, you want to do farman bardari. So that also gives the impression of slavery and servitude. Then there are many terms, there are multiple terms which is used in Quran and which is in Arabic terms, where from this concept comes like sajada, place of prayer, masjid, place of worship, masjid, which is forehead. It's also the place where we bow down your forehead, so it's called masjid, because here you actually want to see Ali Allah's Noor and Ali Allah's Didar, and now when you want to see it, you really want to put it on the floor so that angels, it is said in one of the hadiths that those who keep his neck very erect and in pride, angels force them to put their heads down. And those who put their head down, angels make them their position erect. So that is the one hadith that you may have heard, that is the power of sujood, that is the power of humbleness and the power of humility. And there are body parts involved, forehead, both palms, knees, both toes. So it's actually these 7 or sometimes 10 body parts actually signifies the recognition of Natik in the major cycle and recognition of Imam in the minor cycle. That's what Wajiuddin explained, that you recognize, you actually acknowledge, and then you accept the Imam of the time as your Lord, as the great and the majesty, in the greatness and the majesty of position. So that's where you acknowledge and you recognize. So the main purpose of sujood, medical benefits, already it is shared, that increased blood flow, and there are a lot of research. If you see medical or healthcare research, there are many research people have done where the people use sort of sujood with humbleness, and then those who do not do the sujood, and they have identified the benefit which the people who do sujood, that upper portion of the body, which is head, eyes, nose, the blood supply increases. Many sinus problems seems to be clear of because of doing proper sujood, putting your head. And sujood not just for a second or a 2 seconds, we do sujood that's bowing and then just coming up, but it's a duration also matters. Lambe sajde. Like lambe sajde means you do sujood for a longer period of time with humbleness, humility, and even conversing with Imam of the time, putting your whatever your wishes, and then putting your wishes in front of Maula, and then asking him whatever your wishes are in sujood. So that takes a lot of time, and that's how people have said that, or people experience that it has medical benefits also if you have a longer period of time. And then it also allows mental toxins to clear in the blood, sometimes reduction of the blood pressure. If you put your joints properly, it helps in elasticity of joints. That definitely increase patience and confidence, reduce ego, and create humility. So sometimes when you are angry, sujood always helps. Sometimes if you start anything, start with sujood, it helps because it gives confidence and it reduces ego. So there are 3 main kinds of sujood. The one is prostration of subjugation, where in one ayat Allah says that وَلِلَّهِ يَسْجُدُونَ. ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من دابة وملائكة. Like Yasin has explained in his slides that in this world, everything, every object, plants, animals, and even all malaika, angels, are doing prostration, are doing sujood. So they are called sujoode takfiri, like sujood of subjugation. They do not have choice. They are doing just subjugating themselves. If sun is rising and it is giving the light and the heat, it has to do that. If all stars come out and then shine on the sky, this is their function and they do it. Animals, the plants, they grow, they give fruits, they have to do it. So all the objects, whether in the mineral kingdom or animal kingdom or the angelic kingdom, they do whatever it needs to be done, which nature has given or Allah has asked them to do their functions. So they are doing their functions properly. That means they do not have choice to do, so they are subjugating in front of Allah. So in that subjugation, they will not get any reward for that. So they do whatever it is being told by Allah, what the nature has given to them, so they do their functions, so they are doing the sujood, and angels are also doing the sujood all the time, praying all the time, so there is not such a reward. But the other prostration or other sujood is sujood-e-ikhtiyari, means prostration by choice. You choose that in the utmost humility you bow down. But this is for all the people who belong to any faith. So you see, there is a people who are atheists, they do not belong to any faith, and they see that there is none above us. There is nothing such personality or anything which is above us and we should follow them or we should bow in any person or any object above us. So those are atheists, so they do not do any prostration or any sujood. But for any faith like Christianity or Yahudi or Hinduism, so they do prostrate, whether they do prostrate in idols, they prostrate wherever, like the fire or mud or whatever they are prostrating, but at least they are thinking that the factor of humility is there, that someone or something or some object is above us. So that is the most important thing in sujood, that you are considering something which is superior than yourself, is a supernatural or superhuman being. So that is a prostration by choice, but it is with all the faith, and they may not get marifat, they may not get recognition of human soul, recognition of yourself, recognition of spirituality. So these recognitions, they may not get it because they are doing the sajda not in a proper imam of the time. But the third one, which is the most difficult one and the most trial and testing one, is a prostration for recognition, which is sujood-e-irfani. So this sujood-e-irfani is the recognition of Nur, recognition of the imam of the time, and then you and we all bow down in front of imam of the time, and we acknowledge, we recognize, and we accept imam of the time as a Nur and Akil Nafsekul, and we consider him as his personality as a supernatural personality closest to Allah. So that's how this gives us a reward of recognition of ourselves, recognition of the nature, recognition of world, recognition of whatever is there in this world, why we are created, what is creation. So all those marifat, and all those recognition is given to us by Imam of the time if we prostrate in front of Imam. So sujood-e tafsiri, sujood-e ikhtiyari, and sujood-e irfani. So these are the three types of prostration. One is subjugating, there is no option. Other is option is there, choice is there, but choice is not a real choice. And the last one is the prostration for recognition. So Quran is mentioning, and we as a Ismaili also consider prostration for recognition. We do sujda, we do sujood and prostrate ourselves so that we can get a spiritual peace and we can connect with Imam of the time, because without that connection, without that fana, it will be not possible for anyone to get recognition or get marifat. So this is the marifat and the recognition, which is very important, most difficult, most exalted. There are two Quranic verses which are very important to understand this prostration of marifat. One is the prostration for Hazrat Adam, and other is also in Surah number 68. So we'll go one by one. So when at the time of Hazrat Adam, when it is said that then Allah has made him a perfect, and then he breathed into him his spirit, and then he asked all the angels that to bow down or prostrate onto him, and all angels fell down except Iblis. So you see, all the angels, all the particles, or all the angels, they obey what Allah has said. Allah has said that do prostrate this Adam who I have made, and I have put my spirit in this putla, or in this Adam who is actually the Imam of the time. So you actually accept and acknowledge and recognize and do the sajda, do a prostrate. Everybody, every angel has done that, but except me. So this shaitan, then it is called shaitan. This is a very dreadful lesson for the world of religion. And even somebody can question that this Iblis was actually angel, a very angel at a very highest level. He has worshipped all of his years, and he has did very good work. So just one disobedience has ruined all his worship and all the goodnesses which he has done in the past. So what is, like, if you weigh all of his virtues, and if you weigh this just one act of disobedience, it is far more of weightage than all of his virtues. So one can maybe think or reflect on why it is so, why Allah has then said to Iblis that you are not among the angels, or then that connection which Iblis has with God, it's aparted. So that only worshipping and prostrating Adam is the huge test. So recognizing Imam of the time in this age is a huge test for everyone, because Imam is a living personality, particularly living in West, and whatever he is doing, whatever he is moving, all his physical activities he is doing, people would not be able to digest that. So that is the huge test, that whether this, despite of all this, what physically we are looking, we still worshipping Imam of the time, we still prostrating Adam of the time or not. So for this one ayat where Allah said that Yawma yukshafu an saqin wa yud'awna ala sujud फला यस्ततिऊन, जिस दिन पिंडली खोल दी जाएगी और लोग सजदे के लिए बुलाए जाएंगे तो वो सजदा न कर सकेंगे. The day the shin will be laid bare and they, disbeliever, will be summoned to prostrate themselves, but they won't be able to do that. So pindli kholna or laying, opening the shin is many of our dais, peers, and even Allama Sahib in his books explain that which is this day. So the tabi of shin or saak. Saak in Arabic is shin, and this is when it is being opened. It is basically Noor-e Imam, Noorani personality of the Imam of the time, appear fully the intellect. So because this is basically the time where we see Imam of the time in very different age, in a very different form. He is not like the other people. He is living his life differently, and there are a lot of other activities which we see which Imam is doing, and its glory we see in this world. So this is the day where people were asked to obey, because now everybody knows Imam of the time. Imam says that I am of the 49 Imam, and he reveals his status. He reveals status many times, and Imam in his speeches, he said that I am Ali Nabi Aulade Ali. So in this particular time, this is the opening of Shin, where the wisdom, full Nurani guidance. Particularly, this is the time where Dore Kashf, or a spiritual time of spiritual enlightenment, and Dore Tawi. So this is the Dore Tawi where Quran highlighted that the day where there will be Dore Tawi, or where there will be a time of spiritual enlightenment, you will be asked, all the people will be asked to see who is the Imam of the time, but many people would not able to believe that and may not be able to obey, and that's where they won't be able to do the sujood. And in connection to that, when we recite Ashraqatil Ardu bi Nuri Rabbiha, so this is the time of spiritual enlightenment where the earth will shine with the light of his Nur, light of Imamat Nur, Nuri Imamat. This is not the material shine, but this is the light that makes the heart, makes the intellect shine. So if you see that this Imamat will rise from the height of the perfection to the whole world of humanity. It's the period of knowledge. Now knowledge is getting open, wisdom is getting open. You see a lot of justice going on. People are now voicing out for the justice. They are voicing out for the harmony, peace. There is moral progression, scientific progression. There are all sciences are progressing, and this is a huge kind of progression in the material science as well as in the spiritual science as well. So materially also there is a growth, and science is growing, and spiritually also there is spiritual enlightenment. One of the examples, like initially before Imam Sultan Ahmad Shah, all Smileys were unable to get gold. But now everybody, if you can say that you will be able to get success in the bowl or doing ibadat, then you can take the bowl. So it's open for, this is the open dawah for every Smiley. So this is a time of spiritual enlightenment, where people are called to bow, or people are called to prostrate, but few of them will prostrate, and many of them will not be able to prostrate. And people of the world are not aware that where is this shining, where is this enlightenment coming from, where is this light coming from, who is the center of this light. But those who are in the process of recognition, or those who are in the path of marifat or a path of recognition, they will be able to know that because they have already frustrated, and they will be able to know that who is the Nurani body, what is the source of intellect, and where is the intellectual guidance is. And in the ayat of prostration, when it is said that Allah has said that when I have perfected him and have breathed into him of my spirit or light, you fall down. So you fall down means you are falling during the prostration. So this falling, like when you do prostration, actually you don't fall. Nobody falls while prostrating. So this prostration is a little bit different from the prostration of mankind, because this is basically the story of Hazrat Adam's resurrection. And during that resurrection, angels, they are in the form of particles. They are actually falling in the body of the soul of Adam. So that's how therefore they are falling, because from all the world of the humanity, the particles from all people or angels come into the personality of Hazrat Adam, and that is called the prostration. And that is done in the two stages. One is in the stage of Israfil, and other is in the stage of RAJPARI, which is sacred century. So what has happened then when these angels or these particles then enter into Adam's soul, or then enter into Arif, or enter into Imam of the time? Just give me a second. When they enter into the Imam of the time, they also grow with the Imam, and these particles also get knowledge, and these particles also get Nurani, so that they become the part of Hazrat Adam. So if we have that recognition that our one particle is in the Imam of the time, and that particle is the Nurani particle, and that particle is gaining the Nur, then we would definitely like to go more closer to the Imam of the time, and we can get a peace in even thinking that one of our particles is attached to the Imam of the time, and we will definitely be there one day and be in the Imam of the time. So that's how proximity or a connection is developed. And before the class started, we were reciting Sujd Bhaktarit. So that is that only through prostration, only through prostration with humility, sighs, and shedding of tears, make a connection and a proximity to the Imam of the time. You do a lot of ibadat, but if without its humility, without sujood, without prostrating with the heart, prostrating with soul, sometimes those who are sick, unable to do the full prostration or full posture, unable to maintain this posture, and at least the term qalbi sujood. Qalbi sujood means sujood by heart. So a prostration by heart. So even if you prostrate with your heart, then also it can be considered as a humble prostration, and you may get connected. Sometimes we are somewhere where we won't be able to do the full sujood. Maybe we are in the area where we cannot do sajda properly. So at least we can do qalbi sujood to gain the proximity of God and so to the direct communication with the Imam of the time after, but it has to be without distraction, with full attention and like Maula Ali said that the sujood or prostration is means of gaining proximity. It provides direct communication without distraction. And focus and attention are thoroughly inward. So it should be from inside and it should be from heart. It's not just doing and prostrating without considering or without calling the Imam of the time. Or maybe just doing or positioning yourself and then we are thinking about something else and doing sajda, then there is no way we are getting the proximity and we are getting the connection. So this has already been explained that it is with tears and the divine love and opposite of prostration or connection or bowing down is pride. So if we think that something, a takabbur or pride, we have that kind of bimari or that kind of disease, the basic medicine for removing pride is doing sujood. Sometimes, like we all feel that we are not a proud person or we do not have pride. But sometimes we think that, okay, we have this thing, we have done this achievement, or we count on a lot of achievements, and we say that, okay, this is shukr, and just by saying that the word shukr, but actually we may get particles of prideness, or a particle of shaitan, or particles of takabbur inside if we think of our achievement or if we think of what we have done so far. So if we want to heal that, if we want to make sure that we remain humble, whatever we have done, whatever we have achieved, sujood actually helps. And in sujood, we can say that it is because of Allah's help or because of Mawla's help, we were able to achieve that much, and then we can these are spiritual diseases and we can prevent ourselves, our soul from these spiritual disease of pride. Because remember, this is the pride which has made Iblis shaitan. So this is the pride actually where Iblis has been thrown out of Allah's connection. So that is very important that without justification, we seek prostration and then we seek help from Mawla. Now in dua, where we do prostration also, we do prostrate at the end of each part of dua, which is also implying that we are faithful servant of the Imam of the time, we are humbly prostrating, and we also, one of the meaning of prostrating in each part of the dua is also to consider and reflect that we are created from dust and we going back to the dust again, which in Vajidin discourse 19, Nasir Khusro has explained very clearly that it also means that the Prophet's time, it is mandatory and obligatory to obey Prophet, and the Imamat's time, it is obligatory to obey Imam of the time. Because Tawil of the prostration is obedience to Prophet and obedience to Imam. And in the end, when this dua is completed, before the last prostration, we clasp or embrace our hands by saying Shahidar and then it is done with the companion both right and the left side. So this also gives the concept that only after fana, only after getting the connection, we will be able to get the didar of the king of the religion. And then also in the Imam of the time, Imamat is the king of the intellect and the king of religion. And we do on the right and the left means that we also obey. Right is Prophet and left is considered as Imam. This tawil is also mentioned in Wajidin. So right side is the Prophet and left side is the Imam. So we obey both Prophet and Imam, Muhammad or Ali. So we say that we would like to have Didar after these prostrations in Imam of the time. So we do Didar of Prophet and Ali in the present Imam. Another explanation for Shah Didar on both sides, or saying the both sides, the right side means the party, which is esoteric aspect, and which is the rank of the Prophet, and the Taweez of the left side is the Zahiri or exoteric aspect. So in both aspects, we would like to have Didar of Imam Zaman, who is a Shahanshah Deen, and so we would like to have Didar in Zahir and Didar in Batin as well. So that's where we turned our face to right side and the left side. So in that way, we, after having all those sujood and prostration, in the last prostration humbly, we pray that we get Zahiri and Batini both Didar of Muhammad and Ali in the Imam of the time, who is a Noor of intellect or who is a Shahanshah. This is, I think, my last slide. So there is the mention in Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam that Hazrat Yusuf, who is Imam Mastauda, dreamt in his childhood that 11 stars and sun and the moon were prostrating before him. So Taweez of this dream is that he was to receive the status of Imamat soon, before the expected time. So it's sometimes in the history of Imamat it happens, so that has been shown to Hazrat Yusuf. And actually the 11 stars means the Hujjat, including Hazrat Yusuf, and sun and moon is actually supreme Hujjat and Imam. So the Imam and the Hujjat, when Yusuf got this Imamat before time, both father and mother, they prostrated. So Yaqub and the Hujjat there, they prostrated in front of Yusuf. So that means that whoever is the Imam of the time, everyone there, including all the ranks, they bow down and they obey. They prostrate in obedience. So the main thing is the obedience of the Imam of the time, Farman Bardari of the Imam of the time, and true Farman Bardari. Why true Farman Bardari? Because Fana is important. Humbleness is important. Until and unless if we do not get Fana, then it is not possible for any of us to get Baka, be in the Imam of the time. So that Fanayat, that humility, humbleness, it is important. So how we can get Fana? There is no other way until and unless we have the obedience and we do the prostration, we put our forehead down in Imam's Qadam or in floor, so that we think that we are the dust and we would like to be slowly and gradually gain the proximity, gain the connection, and then ultimately we can get peace in the Imam of the time when we inhale in the Imam of the time. So in conclusion, this is the medicine for connecting to the proximity of Allah, Imam of the time, and this is the act of Fana, small act of Fana, and then without which there is no Baka, like when Allama Sahib got Didar in 2000 of Maulana Hazar Imam, like in one of his personal visits with Imam Hazar Imam. He wrote a nazam where he said that सर झुकाकर गरीब ने सलाम किया, आंसुओं की जबान से कलाम किया. ऐसा तू सजदा कर, तेरा फर्ज सजदा है, इनकार सजदा जिसने किया वो तेरा कर. A garib, he said that himself that I bow down in front of Mawla as a salam, and then I did not say anything with my tongue, but I said everything with my tears. So when my tears were flowing, actually I'm talking to Imam of the time with my tears, and he's saying that, oh head, you do, it's your duty to bow every time, and those who have not done that prostration, actually he is astray, or he has gone very far from the Imam of the time. So if you do not do sajda with fearful and with humility, then we get far from Imam of the time. But if we want to connect, then sujood, tears, sujood with humility will help us getting us connection. And this is a very good remedy for a satisfaction of heart, satisfaction, peace, and also removing disease of the pride. So this is, I'll stop here and open for any questions. Thank you.
Subhanallah, Subhanallah.